Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Risen Esports Divine League. I'm the Doctor, being joined by Gofarino, and we are super excited to be bringing you the final regular season week of the series. One of these teams is going to be finding their spot in a playoff berth, and the other one is going to be going home. How you doing today, Gofarino?
I finally got my AC fixed, so let's go. Do you know how bad it is sitting in 80-degree weather?
I
Not that
acutely
fun.
I acutely know how that is because I had that exact same situation about a month ago, and it was absolutely no fun. But everything's situated. We got our air conditioners blowing, we got games a drafting, and man, we are just running right into it.
Yeah, just each side taking off a bunch of bands already in the time it took us to discuss AC here. Olaf, Lysandra, Wukong, and Karthus being taken off the board. Karthus is an interesting case since he did get some buffs primarily aimed towards the mid lane this patch. However, one thing that has actually jumped up a lot is Karthus bot here, since it actually jumped up in a 6% win rate, which is absolutely disgusting from just one patch alone.
That is quite a large number when you think about 6% in the term of large numbers. 6% of a million is like 60,000. So when you think about how many millions of League of Legends games are being played every day, it really goes to show you how much 6% actually is.
Either way, though, we have wrapped up the bans here, so Glacial Esports just gonna lock in the tried and true Volley Bear. Sure, he got some light nerfs this patch, but hey, still a great first pick here just due to his flex potential and all around strength.
Yeah, still super strong. It is a bit of a flexible. I believe I noticed most of the nerfs were kind of focused towards the jungle Volibear, so I imagine that is going to be going into a lane of some sort. But picking up the Urgot, I've been seeing it more and more in the game state as it is. Really versatile pickup on that top side, really able to really bully out some of these more aggressive top laners that have been being played. And then the good old Ezreal Aphelios handshake coming out as well.
Surprised we saw the Karma locked on with the Aphelios here, since usually you see Lulu Aphelios in that bot lane. However, though, this can also be flexed mid here, this Karma, so we don't exactly know just quite yet. Kind of curious to see where all these things go, but the Soraka has been locked in here.
That one's pretty curious to me. I do know that there was some Soraka Senna shenanigans within the last couple weeks, but with the Senna being banned away, it feels like almost too safe of a pick when comboed with the Ezreal. I know obviously it's a very strong pick in general just due to the healing state of the game, but I mean, what does Ezreal Soraka bring you pre 15 minutes?
So obviously it does have a lot of annoying poke between the Star Call and the Mystic Shot. Um There is also the possibility that we might see a flex coming out from the Goth Boy Clicks here. Maybe that Soraka's going top lane with an Urgot mid lane. I don't think that's going to be the case here, but it is something we do have to watch out for here.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to play into the Volibear. I do know that when we were seeing a lot of Soraka top, it was into things like Ornn, who don't necessarily have the most secured aggression, whereas Volibear right now is pretty easy to jump on top of you, and I feel like Soraka would really struggle in that type of matchup. But obviously, as we head into our second pick of champion picks, really anything's on the table. We still don't know who's top or mid or even bottom at this point.
Yeah, the only thing we know for certain here so far is that the Aphelios Ezreal going bot lane and a lot of mid lane bans had come out, but the Gothboy Clique, they are going to walk in the Heck Room in the jungle here, leave their mid laner till that last pick for a potential counter pick, or maybe some sort of weird flex boogaloo here. If they really want to try that, I don't think they're going to be going too hard on the flexes here. I think it's just a simple case of counter picking, but hey, we'll have to see what happens here, Doctor.
So I have seen a fair amount of Hecarim top lane in Risen leagues. So I definitely don't write that off nearly as quick as some other leagues may. But with the Graves lock in, very strong jungle pick, very versatile, able to clear super fast, and does have a just buttload of burst damage to be able to bring to these mid game skirmishes. Also scales quite nicely. Going to be picking up a lot of lethality, and the Zillion lock in going to close out Glacial Esports' draft, and that is a pretty scary looking draft.
Glacial Esports, they have one hell of a kite back composition here because let's say you're an Urgot, let's say you're Hecarim. You run into that Zillion, you run into that Karma, your life is gonna suck quite a bit. So it might just be a little bit of a hard time here for the Goth Boy Clique.
Yeah, very difficult to try and aggress. And even when you have the Ezreal, presumably going to be going the Iceborne Gauntlet, a bit more of a poke style build, trying to get a lot of, pre-fight damage down and really try and control the zones with that type of slowing field. It's still on the defensive side itself. Even with the Rise pick, they don't really seem, in my opinion, to have too much to push through that Karma Zillion combination that you were talking about.
Hmm. Of course, there might be ways to pseudo work around it here, Doctor, since Zillion and Karma, their shields and the Chrono Break ultimate, while they're great against burst, they're not as good against DPS here, and that is what the Ezreal and Rise will bring for the most part from this Goth Boy Click composition. So maybe maybe this Rise and Ezreal will be able to get through all of that utility. Maybe they won't, and this might just be a classic case of getting outdrafted here.
I do think there could be a fun little interaction between the Urgot ultimate and the Zillion ultimate. If
That's
you're able to
true.
get like the Aphelios down super low and you're able to snipe it out with the Urgot and drag it back into your team, even with the ultimate being procced, he's still now wildly out of position. And with the Rise lockdown, the Soraka silence, the Hecarim knockback, all of that seems like a really good gotcha in that type of situation.
For sure, because I mean, Godbook Click, they certainly do have a lot of tools to start off a fight here, a lot of tools to run at you. There is the Onslaught of Shadows from Hecarim, there is the Urgot just flying in with that little dash of his and then mowing you down with the Gatling gun. And of course, there is the Realm Warp from that Rise in the mid lane.
I do think that when it comes to map mobility, Gothwood Click definitely have a slight edge. Obviously they're gonna have double teleport, probably Predator on the Hecarim, the Rise Warp. All of that's gonna lead to some really interesting situations where they can potentially pop up unexpectedly. Whereas with the Karmazillion speed boosts, they're much more linear, I feel, in their map movement.
Yeah, because I mean, Glacial Esports, they're great at cutting back and they're great with dealing people being thrown at them. But when you kind of look at their team here, they don't exactly do the best job in side lanes outside of that follow bear. Because come late game, you're going to be having to deal with an Urgot and or Rise in the side lane. So who are you going to send to deal with them? You got the Volibear, and then I'm guessing you just send in that Karma from Dawnicious, but Karma doesn't match too well against Rise in the side lanes. Maybe Gothboy Click can work the 1-3-1.
Yeah, and you're really gonna have to have the Volibear prioritize some form of defense against who their expected silent opponent is, because you're gonna itemize much more differently for an Urgot than a Rise. Being able to pick up that Bramble Vest for 900 gold kind of, invalidates some of Urgot's early game, but it's not really gonna do anything for you against Rise.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. We'll have to see what the itemization is once we get into game, because there are a million different ways that you can itemize in League. Sure, you'll follow into some default habits, but I wouldn't be surprised if Egg Rolls does itemize in there, like Bramble Vest for that Urgot. What I will be paying attention to is Egg Rolls in the top lane, whether or not he wants to itemize the Triforce early, or if he's just going to be going that full tank Volibear.
I am concerned about some of their damage sources, especially come late game. Volibear sometimes kind of feels like they needs that Trinity Force to be able to do any type of meaningful damage. But because it is a ranged versus melee matchup, how do you feasibly, get enough resources to be able to do that? Especially when you then have the Hecarim that's able to come up and really hard punish that type of situation. It's really going to be reliant on Klepto and out of hoof to really be these high damage, consistent dealers, but they're both attack damage, which means that both Meta and Yoshi get to really just stack on the armor.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, sure, they'll be able to stack up a ton of armor. You do have to remember though that Dawn Ishius is going to be in that mid lane. He's going to be building full AP on that Zillion. So you can't exactly completely laugh off the bombs. So you will have to itemize at least some magic resist or it will end up hurting you. Obviously, Dawn Ishius on the Zillion, not exactly going to be the hugest threat in terms of damage here, Doctor. But what he will bring, however, is just all that extra utility and that little bit of extra AP threat will at least force out some magic resist itemization.
Yeah, the crowd control is such a big portion of these double bomb scenarios. Really good at controlling zones. Um, And so once we head into the game and once we start getting to these big objective fights, it's really gonna be a clash of game plans. Because these two teams, they have a big difference in what they're thinking to do, but we are gonna have to wait and see once we get into the game to see how those two clash. For now, though, we are gonna take a short break while we load up the map, put the bricks together. So stay tuned, folks, and we'll be right back with game one here, Divine League, between Glacial Esports and Goth Clique. Welcome back, everybody. We're on the Rift. Teams are loaded in. Everybody's charging up their power bombs. Spirit bombs is the word I meant to use. But once again, Doctor and Goferino joining you here on the desk, and we are going to be talking about all of the sweet, sweet League of Legends action we're about to see. That
You just
is,
cast your cursed doctor.
there's nothing more quintessentially Risen Esports.
Oh my god.
All right, where's
That was
Joe? I need
that
to have some
that
words.
was too good. That was too good. But yeah,
Oh
we are just
man.
getting into this series. First game of the night here. Already off to a first off pause. And you know, everything's chilling.
Yeah, it did look like Volibear Egg Rolls was the one to disconnect there, unfortunately. Um, but I'm sure that that'll get squared away quickly. I hope. I do know that there are some pretty gnarly storms here on the East Coast going about, so maybe that's it.
Don't tell me. I kind of don't want them to come to me since I'm also East Coast.
Hey, unpaused. Cool.
Cool.
We're back. All right, so we have a 5-point split. I know that's pretty standard, but we also see both junglers with regular trinket wards.
No real surprise. They're just gonna go and drop down those early wards, and then recall for those red trinkets. As nothing really happening in the first 55 seconds of the game.
Yeah, pretty standard. I do like what we're seeing from Glacial Esports, though. You know, they got 2 deep wards. They seem to have a bit more of a handle on this level 1.
I mean, kind of makes sense that they do have a little bit more of a hand on this level 1. You know, just a little bit of zoning coming out.
You ready?
Either way, though, gonna be a very, very calm start to the game. Only like a few extra bombs coming out in that mid lane.
Nothing too worried about. Pretty standard starts from both junglers, both on the bottom side. Talk to me about this mid lane, because it's something we used to see a lot of. Not so much we see anymore, but it seems to be making a comeback with the Zillion picks in professional play.
So it's more a matter of basically Rise. You only typically pick them in very specific situations in team compositions and the mid lane, because a lot of the more meta picks that we typically see, like specifically the Azir, they kind of just bully them out. However, like when we do see these utility mids, like the Zillion, like the Karma, sometimes even the Lulu as of lately, he has a much easier time into that and doesn't mind just going into that, you know, safely farming up, doing Rise things, building mana, doing damage.
All right, in the top side, nice little trading going on here. Yoshi able to pick up the early level 2, gonna win that trade out a little bit. But something I noticed in that is that they both took press the attack. In my experience, Urgot seems to benefit a little bit more from the Conqueror rune.
So, since Urgot is ranged, he isn't like other top laners where they get the double stacks of the Conqueror and the constant refreshing rate,
Oh,
which is kind of a big
meanwhile,
thing. It was a
never
bit of
mind.
a gank.
Keep talking.
But yeah, basically since he's ranged and in the last set of changes to Conqueror where they raised it from 10 to 12 stacks, it just made it even harder for Urgot to stack it up. However, though the press the attack is always very easy for him to stack up since you just turn on the Gatling guns, you just start mowing them down, insta-proc, then you just get all that free extra damage. Sure, you're missing out on the extra AD and the healing, but it's just Conqueror is that much harder to stack up now on Urgot, and that was what really kind of drove it off him. Plus, also, he has similar meta choices for runes. He's pretty flexible in
Ooh.
that aspect.
Big damage coming out from both sides here. Yoshi going super duper low, but not low enough. First blood going over to GBC.
It's gonna be a little spooky. Having an Urgot with that extra kill does mean he can snowball in that lane, and we all know what happens when a top laner snowballs. The other top laner doesn't exactly get to play the game a lot of times here, Doctor.
Especially in a melee ranged matchup. But I do like that we're already seeing a cloth armor come out from Egg Rolls.
No real surprise there. I mean, Tabais against Urgot are such a valuable tool because every little tick of that Gatling gun, it does count as an auto, so you're reducing that damage by 12%, and that's not even accounting for the extra armor you get with them. At least I'm assuming that's building into the Tabais here. It might also be the Bramble Vest we did discuss in Champion Select.
Yeah, Bramble Vest, I feel it's just so like such a non-brainer because it's only 900 gold. It gives you grievous wounds. It gives you reflect. It gives you armor. It just seems so good for such a good value.
It is a very good value against Urgot since every time he autos you, you're just constantly proccing that Bramble on him. He's like, ow, 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 ow.
But I mean, we see the Kindle Gem start coming out, not rushing for a Death's Dance or any type of lifesteal. Probably gonna be going for the Black Cleaver, I imagine, off the rip.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that Black Cleaver. You don't typically see Urgot get the Triforce, and that's likely what the Kindle Gem's gonna build into. I don't think we're gonna see a Spirit Visage Rush here.
Just like first item, Spirit Visage Rush into a
This
Volibear
isn't Mundo.
Graves 2v2. That's, yeah, definitely seems
Eh.
a bit of a question mark ping there. But so far, nothing else seeming to happen on the match. Knight of Zed already about halfway done with the cull. Everybody else just farming quietly. And I have to imagine that that kind of favors GBC with the Urgot Ezreal Rise situation.
Oh, hold that thought. A little bit of a fight in the bot lane as another pause coming out. I think we're just gonna throw it to a quick break here on the desk while we wait for this pause to end, however. So don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody. Thankfully, not too long without some action on your screens. There was a little bit of a damage trade on Night of Zed. They did apologize, though, so we do know that both teams are at least in good spirits. But yeah, talking about this bottom lane a little bit. Or was it the mid lane? It was the bottom lane. Definitely bottom
That was the
lane.
bottom lane. But yeah, Knight of Zed, he did start the colon Ezreal, which is something we've been seeing a little bit more of recently. A lot of people are attributing it to Sneaky. Basically, the idea is that you take the Cole, you go to the cut down, and you see that extra bit of damage in lane. And also, you usually take it into more handshake lanes. Although, Knight of Zed, he kind of didn't go the cut down, so missing out on a tiny bit of value there, I guess.
Did take teleport, able to get back into the lane, already has that tier pickaxe to start stacking up. So definitely going to be interesting to see how he scales into this Aphelios matchup. Already $1,700 in the bank. Oh no.
A lot of damage for just a Torrens playing on this Aphelios here. A doof.
Yeah, it's
Oof.
definitely That's definitely a name we gotta DM the player and be like, so how do you pronounce this? Because it's definitely not how I'm saying it.
Yeah,
But
I kind of meant to do that, and then I just forgot to for some reason. So now I must pay the price of my hubris. Either way, though, while all that was happening, it was that Infernal Dragon being taken down by the meta on this Hecarim. So having that little bit of extra scaling for his team, that's always nice.
following up with an Earth Drake too, so it means we do get some of the less visually impactful Dragon Souls. I feel it's either going to be the Cloud Drake or the Ocean Drake. So I don't. I'm not a huge fan of Cloud Soul. I don't know why. I do think Ocean Soul is my favorite though.
I love Cloud Soul, but that's because I've always been a Cloud Dragon fan ever since they introduced Elemental Dragons, aka like what, Season 6, where it's like, yeah, you killed the Cloud Dragon. Here's 10 out of combat move speed. So people are like, wow, thanks, I guess,
Was it
Riot.
really?
But I was always a fan of it. Me and my friends called it the Clown Drag because it was kind of useless, but we loved it. We even have an emote on our personal Discord server called Clown, and it's just a picture of the Clown Dragon right there. But now that it gives Ultimate CDR, a lot more people love it. Even though, TBH, I kind of like the move speed version a little more. A little bit of a bungle around this Herald, though.
It is a 3v3 for now with Karma and Rise moving up. It is becoming a 4v4. Aggro's going in. TP coming through as well. Nahor going very low, but still able to stay alive. We do see Graves trying to secure the Eye of the Herald. Does secure it, excuse me. Resurrection coming through from the Zillion, though, keeping him alive for just a second longer. They're going to go down to the meta. And you hate to see someone get locked in just like that, but Aggro's now trying to run away. Big ultimate coming through. Meta gets traded right back. And it is so far 2-for-1. Yoshi trying to survive, doesn't have that Conqueror though, and is quickly slain by the Aphelios, but it's not over. Knight of Zed now trying to get some action in. Flash forward from Bidoof with that red-white weapon combination. But it does look like they got out alive.
That was a lot of damage from this Aphelios already. Just with that BF sword too. Either way though, a lot of action.
Hamlet thinks that he's strong enough to take it on. They have vision, but there is a thing as too deep at 9 minutes into the game.
Slightly, yeah. Maybe diving a Volibear who has that Stormbringer available under a tier 2 tower. Maybe not the best idea, since they did trade 1-for-2 on that. Still though, I would say that Glacial Esports do come out on top because it was a 2-for-2, but they also got the Rift Herald as part of that deal. Pretty sweet if you ask me, Doctor.
Yeah, that's definitely a trade that you will take because when you think about it, the Herald's gonna give you a bit more gold than a kill, hopefully.
Hopefully. There are some times where you drop the Herald and it's just a panic drop since it's about to run out. That always sucks, but with Klepta being in the spot lane, it looks like the current call is, let's grab some of these plates and then grab some more with Rift Herald once we plop it down.
I thought they were going to let it rip immediately, even though it's the less efficient version of it, but... I don't agree with that one so much. Do you think they could have gotten more out of it than 300 gold for Graves?
I think they were forcing it a little too hard on the side of Glacial there, Doctor, because ideally what you see teams do with the Rift Herald while the plates are up, what they like to do, they usually take the first 2 or 3 plates, and then let the Rift Herald hit the later plates, since those later plates are really hard to take down with the plate armor bonuses. However, Rift Herald, since it does true damage, it kind of just bypasses that, so you're usually able to squeeze out more plates. However, Glacial Esports, they did just try and kind of force that. Klepto, I feel like he's like, man, committed so much time to this bot lane. I gotta drop this, guys. It's still a net positive for Glacial Esports, however, since they did get the splits.
Yeah, I mean, they essentially got an extra kill onto the Graves. Always worth it, especially when he is that kind of earlier game jungler. And now we have 8 seconds until the next dragon is up, and it does seem like both teams are responding appropriately.
No one exactly wanted to get that up since Earth's Dragon, it's always nice to have a little bit extra. Just handle it.
Hamlet already doing so much damage. The ultimate goes down, but it's already taken in by the Urgot. So ridiculously out of position now. That is a lot of health back though. Holy moly. Able to survive and get away. Jack Frost nipping at his heels. And now, because of how much HP Hamlet lost, they might have to give up this dragon.
Maybe Hamlet does have the teleport if he wants to do a little quick recall, but there's a girl teleporting in.
Does have the Stormbringer ultimate. Meta getting slammed up a little bit. There it goes. Unstoppable. Yoshi trying to get in the back line. They are able to take out a doof early on. Double kill coming in for Yoshi already. Trying to keep it going. Doesn't have the ultimate just yet available. Realm Warp coming through to cut off Dawnicious. They're not able to get the kill just yet. Finally going over to the Soraka Nahor. And so now this is definitely going to be Earthdrake going over to GBC.
And a 4-0 in the favor of GBC there. That's a pretty good deal when you also get Dragon on top of it, Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the type of team compositions, right, you have to imagine that as this game goes on, GBC is just going to get that much stronger.
Yeah, plus also you look at Glacial Esports composition here, they don't do the best when they're running at you. They want you to run into them primarily, but with them running in, it just exposed Foof, it exposed Klepto, Dawnicious without the ultimate there. Kind of really hurt in that team fight because they did have to blow a lot of resources themselves to get Jack Frost out of that initial pick.
Yeah, they used the Zillion ultimate, the Karma ultimate, they used, I believe they used the Exhaust even as well. So, like you said, just lots being burned. Knight of Zed now looking to hold the lane against egg rolls. Still no first brick having gone down yet, though.
Kind of amazing, too. No. You just
Again.
got Caster Cursed. You know what? Since Caster Curse is a thing here, Doctor, what if we said, man, it sure would be terrible if I won the lottery right about now.
Yeah, that'd be quite horrible. You know, as I'm trying to make sense of my finances at this stage of the year, yeah, it'd be pretty awful if I had to then suddenly plan for a couple extra $100 million. I don't know what I would do.
It'd be such a burden.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's already tough enough. I can't imagine just having, that much more. I do like how Egg Rolls is able to semi-hold the lane against just Ezreal. With Nahor showing up, though, it does seem to be a bit more difficult.
And also, I mean, Egg Rolls, he was doing fine, but Knight of Zed, the entire time Egg Rolls was CSing there, was just dropping the autos, was just dropping the Mystic shots, and that damage will add up on this Volibear, who has just the tab eyes. Don't get me wrong, Volibear is a tanky boy, but when your inventory consists of Phage and tab eyes for tanky stats, this Manamune Ezreal will hurt you over time.
Adafuf's missing HP right now is solely from a single Mystic shot, by the way, with just the Manamune Sheen proc. Didn't even use the Essence Flux. It was just Mystic shot, just straight up.
Hamlet.
Oh no. Hamlet, in between a rock and a hard place, is trying to get out alive, though. Not a lot of damage coming out from Klepto. There's the onslaught of shadows fleeing as Dawnicious going to pop the ultimate. Resurrection coming in. TP from Yoshi as well. Silence coming through into the knockback. Dawnicious forced to broken stopwatch, and that is not coming back in one piece.
Poor Dawnicious there. He was just going up to help his homie Klepto, but then all of a sudden, 4 people just jumping your ass on your own mid lane tower, and you're just like, oh, as Zillion would say when he dies.
You can never trust a pirate, let alone one with a giant shotgun. It is going to give up a Rift Herald as well as the second one of the game, and you could argue that this is the more important one, right? Like, towers are not as tanky as they were.
You can get a lot more done, but you also have to consider you are missing out on the plate money, which is always a big differential. It is personal preference, of course, and each one has their pros, each one has their cons compared to the other.
Now, Dragon in about a minute. Nobody really has vision around it, though. We see a couple deep wards coming in from Glacial, but nothing around the pit itself. But lots of pings already going down.
I think what we're seeing right now, especially from Goth Boy Clique, they did just have those 3 members recall. And we can see here, Doctor, they've all stocked up on control wards. They've spent all the money they have, so they want to be at max power for this up-and-coming Ocean Dragon and have the maximum possible vision that they can store in their inventories at least. So good on them to get prepped. I'm curious to see how Glacial Esports decides to prep for it, since we see Klepto recalling right now. 30 seconds till the dragon, so he's gonna be fine. It's just a matter of, you know, GBC, they were the first ones there, and it's gonna give them prio over the vision.
Teleport available on Donatius. Hamlet's not quite there, but will potentially have it by the time the fight breaks out around the dragon. And, you know, as we see these items start to come in, it does look like we're actually not going to be getting the Iceborne Gauntlet Ezreal that I expected.
Hey, let's go. It's Triforce Ezreal. That's what I always play, because toxic masculinity tells me that Triforce is more manly. I
It
also
just
kind of
does
like
more
the
damage.
Yeah. I think someone actually did the math on it. Not to get nerdy on main here, but you don't technically lose out on as much damage as you would think if you go the Iceborne, just due to the mana differential. And you do also get that absolute buttload of armor. So the main DPS differential between the Iceborne and the Triforce is the attack speed on that Triforce, which is not too inconsequential, Doctor.
All right, so we see the first Trinity Force of the game completed on the egg rolls, but with the Herald being popped in the mid, it looks like the Dragon is going to go over to GBC pretty much uncontested. And by pretty much, I mean literally not contested in the slightest.
There's the fear beyond death from Yoshishi, just field going, but I agree, like, that was very uncontested, Doctor. Like, I thought Glacial Esports would, you know, at least, like, go in there, try and throw some punches, and maybe try and throw some stuff out, but no, they just kind of let it go over, and this is now Ocean's Soul Point for the side of the Goth Boy Clique. And if you want to know absolute pain, Hamlet.
Oh, just already gone, deleted, done and dusted. Klepto's seriously not long for this world. He's going to get the flash for flash, but I really don't think you should be hanging out and defending the tower. That's exactly what Donatius was doing, and we already saw how that ended.
And
all right,
Nita Zed, let's go.
Was he on a ward? No, that was basically blind.
That's what we call the Yeetus Maximus coming up from Nita Zed. But we're already seeing the split push threat coming out from Hamlet, because they sent Donatius up there to try and answer it. The Zillion, though, couldn't really do anything into this Ryze, who hasn't even finished stacking his row, hasn't even finished off his Seraph's Embrace, and just imagine once he does complete those power spikes, Doc.
I mean, you have to look at the CS differential as well. Oh man, Nita Zed popping off in the mid lane. He's getting his hair done up nice, and is going to be taking down yet another member of GE. And I don't want to say it's done and dusted, but it's looking pretty tough if you're a Glacial Esports fan game one.
It's definitely getting a little out of hand now.
If your mid laner dies to the enemy jungler solo, that's a definitely hard ass to come back from. Hamlet coming his way in is going to get the flash out of Donatius. Nita Zed says, I need more money. Please give me more money. And Klepto is not going to go down, actually. All right, we get the heal coming out from Soraka. The final wish. True Shot Barrage goes through, picks up one killing spree for Nita Zed. Meanwhile, actually gets two. Shutdown coming through as well on to Jack Frost. A little bit more money in his pocket. But overall, I do have to say the GBC come out ahead again.
Yet again, this game has been a little tailed at Yoshishi.
Yoichi forced to flash away, does get rooted up, does have the Grievous Wounds passive procced, super low health-wise, is going to get shut down by a Dufuf. And so now that's a bit of a scary situation. Aphelios is quite literally the only member of this team you do not want to be giving money over to.
Yeah, now 2-2 the Aphelios, but is that going to be really enough here for Glacial Esports? And I don't think so. Obviously, they aren't out of this game quite yet, Doctor. This gold lead, while pretty significant, it isn't insurmountable. by any means. It's just Glacial Esports, they only have a finite amount of mistakes left in this game and only a finite amount of things they can really give up before it truly is insurmountable.
Yeah, I mean, we have Dragon Soul Point, Baron, which, with what seems to be most of their wave clear coming out from GE, being the Zillion, which is magic damage, which is obviously lessened by the Baron buff. The only thing left after that's Elder Dragon.
And you kind of don't want to be giving over Elder Dragon to this Goth Boy Clique composition, since they have a lot of ways to proc the Elder Dragon. They have a lot of damage to back up that Elder Dragon, so no one on the side of Glacial Esports really wants to be eating up that empowered damage. That is, of course, a question of much later in this game, since that's not at least going to be up for several more minutes. Jack Frost's going to lose half his health.
It's like 6 minutes, right? We got 40 seconds until... no, it's 7, right? It's the 6 minutes after the final Elemental Drake for Elder.
I think
right?
so, yes.
Yeah.
I know it's 5 minutes between each Elemental Dragon.
Oh, so
and
it's
I know
6 minutes, because it's 1 additional minute.
Yeah.
Right? We'll find out in about 29 seconds, so... Definitely let us know. Nearsighted Nahor gonna get stunned up, taken super low already. Might be forced to use the wish, not even given a chance though. Klepto at the execute there, setting up nicely for this dragon. Dunish is gonna be going back to base. Does have to teleport though, so will be able to find their way back shortly. But
And
holy moly, Hamlet.
Yeah, he's been split pushing top this entire time. Sure, you got that beautiful catch out with a thundering smash from egg rolls. This Rise, well, it was 2 levels above. Now he's just gonna get a free inhibitor here after all this free solo farm. Like, his Rise is a complete monster right now. Thankfully for Glacial Esports, they were able to get that one kill. They were at least able to get that one dragon to stall out this Elder. However, there is gonna be a lot more tricky things to deal with later down.
Yeah, I mean, now they have to deal with those super minions as they start setting up for the, picks around the Baron. That much more difficult. And the more I think about it, obviously Infernal Drake is one of the best Drakes for the soul that you can get. Hold on. Is Klepto going to go down? No, all right. They just scare him off the giant frog. But when you look at this GBC composition, I have to think that on the tier list, Ocean Dragon's probably the second best, right behind Infernal, just because of how much healing you can proc with all of your rapid fire abilities.
Plus, also, it's like, I mean, think of what Ocean Soul does for this Goth Boy Clique composition. Yoshishi, he already has a Death Stance. He's just going to have even more healing. Meta has the Conqueror, is going for the Death Stance himself. Basically, everyone already has a buttload of healing on GBC's composition, especially Nahor on the Soraka. And do you know how obnoxious a Soraka with Ocean Soul is? She doesn't have to worry about using up all her health to heal someone. Yoshishi?
Klepto gonna get engaged upon. We do see a 2v3 breaking out already. 4 members over here for GE. Adafoof picking up a kill again. More gold over to this late game Aphelios. And I have to imagine Yoshi was feeling pretty good about themselves right before that, and then immediately had a bit of hand meet face time.
There's the Glacial Augment slow. Knight of Zed. Have to be careful here.
Man, look at how quickly this tower is going down. That's actually going to do it. And maybe GE has some life still in them. Maybe.
Problem is, though, well, we see the problem right now. It's Hamlet in the side lane. Like, Egg Rolls is 3 levels down on this Volibear. Has 0 magic resist. Look at that!
Holy moly! Flash in with that Righteous Glory proc. Just gonna delete Egg Rolls from the game. Teleport coming in from Yoishi as well. The minions are gone, but they're cutting the wave. Hamlet trying to 1v3 this. Does have that. Seraph's proc going out. Does get rooted up nearsighted. So much damage. Shut down onto Dufu. They are looking to trade it for the Baron, but with just 3 members here, this isn't the fastest Baron. Although it's already down to half HP, and no way does Klepto get here in time.
Maybe. You have to remember, he has the Karma, he has the Zillion, so that's a lot of move speed.
1K, 900, 600. Red team slays it, but Klepto. All right, Klepto didn't do nearly as much damage as I thought he was going to, but the thought was there.
In spirit, this is the problem though when you're facing this Goth Boy Clique composition as Glacial Esports, because this Rise is so far ahead. He's gonna constantly be split pushing a side lane, and you'll have to commit multiple members to deal with him, as we saw there. But when you commit multiple members to the bot lane when we're 27 minutes into the game, that just signals free Baron if you're Goth Boy Clique.
Yeah, especially when you have dual Trinity Force users, plus a Soraka to make sure nobody goes low. The one shining light here is that Hamlet did not get the Baron buff due to being dead. So I suppose you have that going for you, but I feel like it's still going to be incredibly tough to deal with Supers in one lane, Baron in the middle lane, and then that Rise down in the bottom lane.
It is not going to be a fun time. At least with all the supers already going into your base, you are getting that extra boost of gold in terms of farming. So, silver lining, gotta look at the positives here if you are Glacial Esports. Otherwise, though, things definitely not going too well.
We actually see Meta helping out Hamlet to make sure that that bottom tower goes down. A little bit of an engage coming in. Gravitum ultimate coming out from Adufu. Eggrols goes in deep with the storm. Everybody's going super duper low. Hamlet finally goes down. Meta's going to survive by a hair. And Klepto takes it for himself. It is a 1-for-1 trade. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Night is popping off onto Klepto after securing the inhibitor. And so now what is left? We still see 4 members alive for this GBC squad, and Hecarim actually went back to make sure that they can get that soul point. Meanwhile, Zed's like, we don't need it, we're just gonna end the game here. Arcane shifts away, heals, Wish coming through, Conqueror gets proc. Night Zed's gonna take out the Zillion ultimate for Klepto, but can they still do more? Night Zed just does so much damage. One more Mystic shot to do it. Night Zed slaying Klepto, the namesake of his old keystone. And actually, that's going to do it. These Baron minions are enough to do it.
Whew, and that was quite the doozy. Glacial Esports just not able to take this absolute side lane monstrosity that was this Rise. So I'm curious to see what they plan on doing about it in that game, in the up and coming game number 2 here, Doctor.
Yeah, I don't quite know what the game plan's going to be. They picked a pseudo early game draft into a late game composition and kind of got rocked in the early game. So we are going to have to see how they shore up that early game defense as we head into game 2. But for right now, we're going to take a short break while the teams confer with their coaches, try and figure out that game plan, and we'll be right back with more League of Legends. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are once again with game two of Risen Esports Divine League. Goth Boy Clique versus Glacial Esports. I am the Doctor, being joined by Goferino on the desk. And Goferino, game one was a bit messy. What do you think can happen in this game two draft phase to clean it up and make it pristine?
I want to see Glacial Esports have some way to deal with side lanes if that becomes an issue again. Because we saw what happened when Hamlet basically had a free lane. Basically, what happened when he was just able to continuously go into side lanes, almost never be punished until the end of the game, where he got a solo kill. Then everybody just dropped on him and like, hey, 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 stop that, you. But you're gonna have to punish these picks that need a scale like that Rise, like that Ezreal, and we didn't really see a lot of that last game.
Yeah, it seemed like they kind of hard committed to winning the first 15 minutes. And then we saw a TSM special where they lose the first dragon fight and they kind of just went TSM's way after that, where they just lose the game. But I like this. They banned Ezreal.
That's true. The Ezreal ban, pretty good. We saw what happened when actually, no, Knight of Zed had it last game. So they're just banning it away. What this tells me is that they want to deny that pick from Glacial Esports because they want to first pick something else themselves. And there is that Karthus that was banned away last game. Now, this is going to be zesty because I was kind of talking about lane Karthus a little bit last draft here. Her doctor obviously couldn't talk a lot about it since it was banned. But if this is a Karthus spot, I'm not saying that it is. That might be pretty zesty.
So I'm going to be honest. I have not seen Karthus bot, and I honestly haven't seen Lane Karthus in going on like 3 years now. So maybe talk to me a bit to me about why this pick would even be considered.
So basically, he spikes harder than AD in the bot lane. You're not under as much gank threat in the bot lane since you are able to throw up that wall of pain. And basically a myriad of other factors that just make it so he can snowball in that bot lane. And that's what can be deadly.
So does he run like Dark Harvest and just like do the jungle thing where they hit six and then just every time somebody gets low, you get a proc?
Kind of, yeah, more or less. Either way, though, we do have the double S duel of that Soraka Silas being locked in for Glacial Esports. Very interested in that. Of course, the Silas into Karthus is pretty nutty because you get Requiem on a much shorter CD than the Karthus does, so that's always a bit of a meme time.
Man, are we gonna see like Karthus something Karthus Rakan bot versus Soraka Silas?
I
I
don't I don't think so. I know I've been hyping up this bot lane Karthus pick a lot here, but I still think it is most likely going to be going to that mid lane since bot lane Karthus, even though it is really powerful this patch, not a ton of people have been playing it yet. So
so you're saying there's a bit of inexperience there?
maybe it's a very strong flex pick right now for the GBC draft since with a Nocturne and Recon that isn't telling you where this Karthus is going aside from not jungle.
As long as we know well, I mean, is that even true? If you've seen LEC once or twice, you know that there is the less than 1% chance it is lane nocturne.
That's true. Mid lane Nocturne, it is a thing, and we have seen it before. It's kind of rare though. It's more of like a team thing where certain teams will play it since it just fits their styles more so, I believe. Either way, though, I mean, we are into the second round of bans here already, Doctor.
Yeah, and something pretty telling to me is that we see Glacial banning out a marksman and GBC banning out a mid laner, which to me, since we already have a marksman on GE and a potential mid lane on GBC, that they've committed to those lanes already.
I wouldn't be surprised. Glacial Esports, I'm curious what they're going to round out the ban here. Actually, going to be the Twisted Fate. So, that Twisted Fate is very strong and can super punish a Soraka Kaisa bot lane since Soraka and Kaisa can't really do too much once you port in with that Destiny, aside from throw down the Silence Field.
which isn't too bad. I mean, granted, he'll probably have his pick a card already, but at least you won't get wild carded. No, what's his Q? His Q's wild card, right?
His
Yeah,
Q is
wild card.
wildcard, W's pick a card, and then E
Yeah,
is like stack deck, I believe. That or
yeah.
that's a passive.
They've
Ooh.
changed the way it works, but no, yeah, we are right. Wild cards, pick a card, and stack deck because it hurts. But Scion is something we've been slowly seeing jump the ranks a little bit. Nice tanky top side, right? Pretty blind pickable, I feel.
Because he is fairly safe as a
Oh,
top
no.
laner. Like he kind of fills a little bit of the same niche as Ornn, where he does a lot of damage. Obviously, Ornn does more damage in the late game compared to Sion. However, Sion has a really
Wait.
scary early game himself.
So I hate what I'm seeing on my screen right now. If this is actually
Oh, is
what
it
we're
Nunu
getting,
mid?
but that was my guess. Is having played against Nunu mid, both a bad one and a good one, it is so annoying. And then we get to see your Karthus bot.
All right, so I didn't think it was gonna happen with the Karthus bot here. I was hyping it up a ton, but I just wanted to like remind everyone, like, yeah, it's just a possibility. Most likely going mid. But with his Nunu and Willemp being locked in, like you said, Doctor, if you thought Fiddle mid was unreactive, for a lot of mid lane champs, just wait until you see Nunu and Willemp.
I do like that they hard countered it though with the Anivia. Like that's so big brain that I have to imagine that they like knew the Nunu was gonna be a thing.
It was insta lock too, if I'm not mistaken, because AP-ish Nunu mid. It kind of depends how people want to take him. Usually, you'll see a Protobelt rush, and then from there, it depends. Some people commit to the AP, some people just go into full tank. Either way, though, just being able to stop that world's biggest snowball once he starts rolling it up on command with your own glacial wall, it's a little bit of a hell of a drug here, Doctor.
Yeah, like it basically removes the mid lane Nunu. But since they already have a Nocturne, do you then just be like, nope, just kidding, put Nunu in the jungle? Like, is that the play now?
That is definitely a possibility here, and I'm not entirely sure. I want to see where they decide to put things first. I want to say that it is going to be the Nunu mid, since Nocturne mid into Nivea, that does sound like a lot of pain pre 6. Unless you get some gank help, it does look like, based on the current lock ins here, that it is going to be Nocturne jungle with the Nunu mid. Also interesting to note is that Klepto is going to be going jungle Silas. That kind of slipped by our eyes here since we're too kind of hard focused on the Karthus bot and the Nunu mid.
Yeah, I mean, something that I feel kind of escaped GBC this draft is how early the Silas was, and yet they still kind of picked, outside of say the Rakan, some really strong ultimates that can be stolen away.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even the quickness from the Kron is very good on Silas, since you can pop that when you go in with that upsend and a duct. So then you just kind of charm them as soon as you go on them. And if you CC them longer as Silas, it does help you carry out your combo, a little longer, and it means you get that much more damage down.
Yeah, and so man, that you're right. That is such a smart pick there. Man, I just this draft is like breaking my brain because I understand what Nunu Mid does. I understand since from what you've told me, Karthus Bot does. I understand what GE's composition as a whole does, but like how they're gonna then come together and interact is escaping me.
Well, GE's composition here, they do have a lot of all-in potential between the Scion, Kaisa, and Silas, since they all have tools to get in, get towards that back line. However, it does mean Soraka and Anivia will be kind of left in the dust here. This is definitely a unique comp. I can't say I've ever like really casted anything like this before, since you don't typically see the Soraka Kaisa do in the bot lane. You don't typically see Silas jungle anymore, and hell, and Nivea, we haven't really seen in competitive outside of Froggen since like what, season 2, season 5, maybe at best.
He breaks the bird out every now and then. I don't necessarily think she's in such a good spot right now just because of the mid lane meta, but I believe it is a hard counter to this Nunu mid.
Because another thing about that Nunu is that he does rely on the consume a lot for healing. However, in Nivea, she basically kills you with a lot of DPS over time. Thanks to that Glacial Storm ultimate, you just turn it on, and then you're constantly taking away at the main wave. The Nunu just kind of faces the dilemma of do you want to go up and consume or not? But we've been flexed on again here, Doctor, as it looks like Hamlet might be taking the Nocturne
Oh.
mid, with the meta putting it in jungle. I guess it's just another bit of a spectator issue here with, the swaps not exactly coming out on time.
But that's fine. It is somewhat more understandable, I guess. I think that there was a bait almost with the Nunu pick because everybody, including us, assumed it would be a Nunu mid. And so with Glacial Esports obviously being prepared, they're like, oh, Anivia. It's a pick that works. It blocks the Nunu. We'll do our thing. And then GBC's like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no. This is Nunu jungle. We're going to get every objective. And now you have to deal with a Nocturne mid. I don't know. I still don't know if I agree with the thought process there.
I'm curious to see as well, since Nocturne mid, we have seen it, but I want to see how this Nocturne Nunu duo interact in the mid lane here, Doctor. Because there is a lot of potential threat on this Anivia for Dawnish's. Sure, he'll be able to harass down this Nocturne a lot, even through the spell shield, maybe blocking the stun and saving him a lot of damage. Just the auto harass, the E harass, it is going to really add up over time. But the Anivia does also have to itemize a lot of mana early on, so you can't exactly itemize an early Zonius for this Nocturne.
Spell shield obviously being a huge component of that back and forth there as well. But as we are heading into the game, we're going to take a short break, folks, while the two teams get their last final words in with the coaches and really focus in on the match. We'll be right back, folks. So stay tuned, and we'll finally get to see what these two teams are going to do to each other. So stay tuned. Here we are, folks. No time like the present to see how these two teams go head to head with this very peculiar draft. And go for do we see a level one? Does somebody try to get something sneaky off?
I want to see something sneaky get off, but looking at these two compositions, I'm not entirely sure. Obviously, Klepto, if he gets the Epsend and the Abduct, there is a little bit of potential for cheese here, especially when you consider in the just being sash from egg rolls. There, it's hard, and I don't think we're gonna see anything, but I do want to see something.
But nope, seems to be pretty standard start. Wards being traded out for sweepers. And all right, things are things are gonna pop off. I know you were talking about Night of Zed's runes. We already see the
Minions
Dark
have
Harvest right on the
spawned.
board. Lethal tempo for Hamlet as well. The much more sustained version, I feel, right. Like if he was going for a more assassin style build, I would expect Executioner or Electrocute. Excuse me.
Yeah. Um, Typically, you see lethal tempo on the Nocturne since it is very easy to proc on him. Thanks to the Q, you're able to throw out your Duskbringer mid-flight with the Paranoia, actually. That is one small Nocturne mechanic not a ton of people know. So if you throw the Duskbringer out at the correct time, by the time you land on your target, the lethal tempo will basically have procced already, so you're already just wailing away on them. And Nocturne is very auto attack reliant for his kills.
Yeah, I mean, we did see the most recent buff for him actually being to the jungle, but as we can see here, it's a bit of a Vedius special. We'll have to be sure to tag him in the VOD. Maybe we get him to do a nice little VOD review there. I'm sure he'd love to see it.
I think he loves to see Nocturne mid in any form, like. But maybe his heart's a little too hard stuck to EU for him to watch.
Eh, these things happen. But all right, level 2 for each side. Guardian getting procced. So when I initially saw this top side, the Scion Camille matchup, my initial thought was, oh man, Yoshi's gonna have a really great time here. Egg Rolls is gonna have less of a good time. But right off the bat, I seem to be wrong.
So the thing is with Camille is that she does need a little bit of time to scale, doesn't exactly have the best early laning phase, really starts to come online once she has a Tiamat, once she has what I assume is going to be a Triforce here. You don't typically see the Black Cleaver on Camille. So that is one thing I'm going to be looking for. Egg Roll should have a decently easy time early on in this laning phase, thanks to how much base damage Scion has. Yoshishi at least will be able to dodge out a lot of the damage, thanks to the hook shot at least.
In the mid lane, though, we see Klepto getting caught out. Great wall coming out from Donatius, but it's not enough. First blood going over to Hamlet, traded instantly back by Donatius, but that is where it ends. Double buff onto a level 4 Anivia.
It's going to be a little nasty. However, Hamlet getting the first blood on this Nocturne might be a little bit of a worrying trend here if you are a Goth Boy Clique fanboy, since snowballing assassins, Doctor, they tend to do a lot of damage.
So, do you like knives, Go Farina?
When I'm cutting butter, yes.
Or are you more of a longsword fanatic?
You already know I love longswords. 80 carry main coming out fresh and hot. Longswords are life. After a beat of swords, of course.
Man, we play very different 80 carries. I'm definitely much more of a dagger fiend on my side. But no, I mean, first blood into triple longsword start. It's a very assassin-y feel.
Not too surprising. I'm curious to see what Hamlet itemizes first here. I thought he'd maybe potentially get like an early Tiamat to help him deal with the Nivea wave clear, give himself a bit of wave prio. But this triple longsword start, what it is telling me is that he is most likely going for that very early lethality item. I could be wrong, of course. Nahor, that's a nice little knock up.
Yeah, does end up doing a good bit of damage to get a Dark Harvest proc as well for Night of Zed. Definitely want to be getting those as early and as often as possible, uh, just to make sure that that Requiem really hits like a truck.
It doesn't take a lot for the Requiem to hit like a truck, especially when you look at the bot lane of Boof and Frost here. Because they don't exactly have a ton of MR themselves. Sure, Jack Frost, if he wants to, could get like an early Athenes. Thing is with Kaisa is that you're not really able to itemize magic resist, at least until like 2.5 items, since her evolves are so crucial. Like, you can't even start Doran Shield on Kaisa, just due to the nature of how her evolutions work. So Night of Zed might have a little bit of a field day on this Karthus, just thanks to how nutty his base damages are and how low Foos MR should be.
And I mean, you can already see the wave prio coming from this pick as well, talking about it into the mid lane. I mean, look at how hard it's being shoved in the bot side.
No real surprise there. And because of that prio, we actually see this early Cloud Dragon already being started up. Neither is it even going to teleport around there to help out just in case. Meta has Klepto jump on him. But a Cloud Dragon, when you look at this composition of the Goth Boy Clique, a little bit scary since Requiem, the quickness, Paranoia, Ultimate Zero, all of that on a lower CD. Bit of a spooky prospect.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the only thing worse would have been if it was the soul, and so they get more, like multiple of those cloud drakes. Earth being the second means infernal soul potentially.
Potentially. It is a bit of a 50-50 with what we know on the board, so it is either going to be another Ocean Soul or that Infernal Soul.
Yeah, I feel like Infernal Soul would be just super nutty for really either side. You know, obviously, Donatius, Klepto, and Eggroll, I feel like being able to proc it quite effectively. Oh no. Poor Klepto.
That is one of the powers of Nunu. You're able to invade very freely with that world's biggest snowball. Because if anyone contests you, they get hit by that snowball. If anyone tries to steal the buff that you're stealing, you just consume plus smite, and they're like, guess I'll just get rebuffed.
How do you contest with like 1200 damage instantly true? Jack Frost though, super duper low, finally gonna go down, doesn't even need the snowball's help. But man, second or third blood, excuse me, going over to Nida Zed's Karthus. Does it really get much worse if you're a GE fan?
I think it does, because Jack Frost, he has the Chalice of Harmony now. I can't recall if he had it for that gank. But Karthus just does so much damage, and now that he has this Lost Chapter, won't really have to worry about the mana. Got a few stacks of that Dark Harvest, if I'm not mistaken. I'll do a quick check. He's at 2 right now. So that's going to start stacking up, and this Karthus is only going to start hurting more and more, since Karthus does scale like a truck into the late game.
Already level 6, access to the Requiem, gonna be picking up a second plate, 160 free golds into his pocket. And so, man, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so as you guys can see on the stream, it does say GE blue, GBC red. They have actually swapped sides here in game 2, just like Yoshi is looking to swap the tide of this gank. He is going to go very low. Yoichi going to be able to flash away safely, though. Meta flashes away as well. And that is a 1-for-0. Danish is going to DC for just a second as we see the Paranoia go out. But yeah, like I was saying, so the two teams on the scoreboard are swapped, and we do have GBC on the blue side up game 1 in this best of 3.
Yeah, just a little bit of stream elements, glitchiness there. However, we are going to have to cut to a break right now, even though this is a very spicy time to be getting off with that Nocturne currently being unstoppable.
Yeah, right in the mid. Don't worry, folks. I'm sure we'll get reconnected real quick. Stay tuned, and we'll be back as soon as possible. And just like that, Klepto also meeting his demise to the Void Terror. And things are really off to a great start here for GBC.
If the last game was any telling for how this game would go, I'm not too surprised with the current situation. Already got that 4+1, already got that Cloud Dragon in their pockets, and just look at this pure bullying going on in this bot lane. I don't know if Knight of Zed has enough for the Requiem, Let's check. 100 mana. He does have enough for the Requiem if he wants to. I don't think he is going to press that, however, since Jack Frost is a Soraka, can just press that dub.
Paranoia stolen from Klepto, now finding his way in, does get battle danced into the sky. So much healing coming in favor of Knight of Zed. Klepto's just trying to get anything done, but with the flash, Nahor is out, and with 2 flashes spent, Klepto's now forced to try and get away. Yoshi and the meta joining themselves in. Yoshi gonna pick up 1. The wish was not in time. Requiem coming through, and 3 kills right away over to GBC. They are going to get the resurrecting egg for the 4th kill. Yoshi on a killing spree.
God.
Talk to me. Talk to me, Goferino.
This is just brutal. It's like watching a slaughter right now. Glacial Esports, they're the one who tried to starve that play. They just had 4 people bot. They weren't even able to get a single man for their troubles, Doctor. Do you know how tilting that is to commit 4 people bot, then lose 4 people bot? Like, they were committing already with a bot lane that had barely any health. Then we see the jungler, then we see the mid laner come in, not able to secure that. And once the meta came down, once Yoshishi came down, it was just all over.
Really unfortunate, too, because the majority of those kills went over to Yoshishi, who, on this side lane threat, seems pretty reminiscent of what we saw from Hamlet in Game 1.
And I don't know how it's gonna get any easier. Egg Rolls hasn't even finished his first item yet. Okay, there he is. It was just a matter of needing it back. However, though, he is still down in gold compared to his lane opponent, thanks to all those kills. And that Triforce spike for this Camille is going to be absolutely massive. Hook shot.
Yoshishi going in, does get the ultimate down. Rampage called out there. Gets a little help from his friend Hamlet. Oh, no. Oh, no. So much damage coming through. 2-man knockup. Jack Frost not able. Oh, all right. Survives the absolute 0, but another double kill going over to GBC, this time in favor of Knight of Zed's Karthus. Now 4-0-3 to join his top laner.
And I absolutely love this Camille pick right now, Doctor, because Yoshishi, when that hook is off cooldown, he will just throw it at a wall, go on someone, they're stunned up, his team just absolutely goons the opposition. And there's no one who can deal with that now. Like, we saw it in the mid lane there with the play that started this off. Donish is getting hit up by that, then getting trapped in that Hextech ultimate. Egg rolls?
Does Egg Rolls win this? I'm honestly not sure. Already below half HP, does get the Dark Harvest prog, is able to get it. All right, I was skeptical, but you got to give it to him. Able to win out on that one. So there's still life in this GE top laner.
Even though Scion technically doesn't have any life left in him.
He's got the
Well, of his own
furnace.
life, he does have the soul furnace, which is others' lives.
Yeah, we take all lives here. And so, wait, did they pop the Herald top? Are they gonna get that tower for free?
I believe so. It is gonna knock it down to 1 plate with this charge.
The Herald's still up. I think that is gonna be first break. Talk to me, game. Yeah, there we go.
Took you long enough, Harold.
Come on, Shelly, get it together.
Sometimes it is just that awkward way in a game. Yoshishi?
Yoshishi. All right, I'm just gonna believe in Egg Rolls because Paranoia coming down to the bot side means there's not much left to believe in down here. It's only nightmares coming through. Hamlet 3-1-2 with the takedown onto Jack Frost.
Oh
Donicius
no!
disconnects in the middle lane, and they are unfortunately gonna give another kill over to Knight of Zed. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do in that situation. You know, we did see some camaraderie in game 1, but when your opponent disconnects and under tower after a Requiem, you can't tell the game not to give you 300 gold, unfortunately.
That was just so tragic to watch. Hookshot from Yoshishi. Let's see if he takes this.
We do see Conqueror procced already. Yoshishi healing up nicely due to the lack of Grievous wounds. able to flit and dance in and out of that decimating smash thanks to the phage portion of the Trinity Force. Klepto gonna steal the ultimatum, procs it down. Yuishi nowhere left to run. Able to get taken out by egg rolls. All right.
That is a very important
No.
punish. Snowball, Hamlet.
Klepto just simply nowhere left to run. Unstoppable coming out from egg rolls, but the flash forward from meta means that egg rolls with his own flash is not going to be able to survive. Double kill for Hamlet, the AD mid assassin. All right, talk. Farino. What do we need to see from GE right now?
Less losing, more winning.
All right.
So on a more serious note, they need to try and pick up some of these shutdown bonuses here, because these are rather juicy Nandos available on the plate to pick up here. Obviously, also grabbing whatever towers they can will help too. It's just, I don't know how much they can realistically do. Yeah, you see, that is one of the proofs in my thesis statement. Here's another.
Paranoia, stopwatch getting broken. Hamlet's a little deep, but will he even go down? The answer is negative. Adufu ulting in with the Predator. Not going to get a kill just yet. Knight of Zed goes over the wall. Donicius flashes aggressively, but trapped by his own wall, unfortunately. Blast coning over again.
Oh, no.
But Donicius in this adventurous 1v3, getting a little help from his friend Egg Rolls. Both the Requiem coming down. Scrambled eggs are soon for breakfast. Hamlet goes dominating. Unable to get over the wall. Egg Rolls are quite delicious as killing spree now for Knight of Zed, and the shutdown bonuses are just going up on the side of GBC.
And there's nothing you can really do as Glacial Esports right now except wallow in sadness. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you don't have any winning lanes here. You don't even have even lanes, except for maybe that top lane. But even then, like, your top lane's getting outscaled. Like, I don't know what Glacial Esports can do here.
So, you said getting outscaled. Also down 600 gold at the moment. Meanwhile, the rest of the lanes, we see a 1,300 gold advantage for the Nunu. We see in the mid lane an almost $3,000 advantage for Hamlet.
God.
Almost, or actually over 3,000 advantage for Knight of Zed. I mean, even the support has a 1,600 gold advantage.
That's one of the... Oh, but here's a fight.
Paranoia, Requiem. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. And one down. Another quickly behind it. Double kill for the mid lane Nocturne. Can they get a third? Can they get a Penta, actually? Give them the Penta. Nope. Stolen away by the jungler, the meta. You hate to see it. That could have been Hamlet's Penta, I believe.
Could have had it. Oh, rolling
I mean,
in. Well, he's at least looking for the trip here. Not gonna get the trip. Sadly, no banana peels to trip on.
That might have been a bit ambitious, to be honest. Diving a level 11 Scion at 18 minutes into the game. I've seen that go not well before.
I mean, the man wanted his trip.
I'm sure there'll be another time.
Yeah, probably. Any one of these up-and-coming team fights, probably prime. Egg rolls, under fire.
Getting just simply exploded by Knight of Zed with these Skittles, though. Is trying to run away, but Yoshishi just goes into the 1v5, does get knocked up, taken down quickly without Reminiscent. And so now, can the rest of the team fight come together to try and 5v1 the Karthus? The answer is they have to defend their mid lane.
The Requiem is up. I'm looking for that Klepto. Ooh, keep in mind,
one Duskbringer into Requiem probably kills Klepto, to be honest.
Yeah, this is a 20 Magi stack Knight of Zed right now.
Rampage? He landed 2 Skittles. That was it. Klepto gonna get knocked up, tries to go in aggressively onto Knight of Zed. Not tanky enough, though. Is gonna go down. Hamlet is legendary. The Requiem is finally gonna get interrupted. And that is the first one I believe we've seen not result in a kill, but Ekrolls is willing to sacrifice his life, excuse me, for the Zed God and will a Defufu. Yes, Hamlet goes legendary. Knight of Zed gonna use the Wall of Pain there to keep him and his friend alive. And I have to imagine GE's mental is just boom.
Yeah, I would say it's about at what 150,000 times the normal TNT's explosion right now. I know a lot of scientists measure explosions in like TNTs, so I'm just like trying to measure mental boom in that. I don't know if it converts 100%. Hopefully, our producer can look that up for us while we get back to game, though.
Yeah, can you 100% TNT your brain? Um, so I was honestly, I'm trying to think of an item that would allow Knight of Zed to solo the Baron. I don't know if there actually is one currently in League of Legends, but I'm looking at his current build and I can't imagine he's far off.
Maybe Leandri, since the HP burn from it is actually really clutch against Baron. I know it's capped, but still, since you're just constantly having the Defile active, you'll just continuously be shredding through that Baron. It's like basically Belay the Rune King users into that Baron, more or less. That's my main idea. Obviously, he will need some sustain, and I'll take a quick check at his runes, actually. He did go for the Ravenous Hunter, aka my most balanced rune in the game. I was currently healed 4,200 health in this 21-minute game. You know, because it is a slightly balanced rune.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was expecting. Paranoia into the Requiem. Knight of Zed is godlike. Everybody else is below half HP. I think he just got 5 Dark Harvest procs. It's just the whole screen exploded. But yeah, that was exactly what I knew was going to happen as soon as I saw both of them were available and Aduvufu was alone in the bottom lane. I was like, oh, that's not going to end well.
Yeah, when you're this fed on Karthus, Snowball.
Oh man, 3-man knockup thanks to the Snowball. Here comes the Rakan. 2-man knockup, 2-man charm, and the rest of the team fight is going swimmingly for GE. Already going to take down 2. They get the 3rd as well. How many more can they get? Hamlet and the Rakan trying to do what they can, but it's not enough. The Yoshishi Hamlet combo just a bit too strong with these AD Lifesteal drain tanks. They do get essentially an ace, and I think they just win. I don't think Adufu can.
He can play it out. He can outplay them. Look for it. Nope.
Nope. With that ultimatum going out, it was either kill us both or you lose. And unfortunately, only able to get the 1, which means it is in fact a W for GBC. And they're gonna. Oh wait, did I speak too soon? Did I overspeak? Minions?
Minion.
All right, nope. So yeah, that is going to be GBC Goth Boy Clique going 2-0 over Glacial Esports here in Risen Esports Divine League. I believe they have one more match tomorrow to truly decide their fate and see if they make it into the playoffs or not. But that was just pure and simple domination over Glacial.
And this isn't even the Risen Dominate League. Like, good lord.
Divine League. I'm sorry. There's so many D's in Risen. It's tough to keep them together.
That's true. Yeah. There's Risen D League, Risen Dominate League. There's Risen Rando Doe League. There's Risen Davesty League. How many more Risen admins can I name with D's instead? Either way, though, a very dominant win in both games, as we said before, coming out for the Goth boys. And I don't know, can anyone stop them when they're looking this powerful?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say they simply I don't do they outsmart the draft? Because we were talking about Nunu, Anivia for a good 10 minutes, I feel. And then they're like, nope, it's Nocturne mid, and we've just invalidated all of your game plan.
I just I just think they like outcomp them hard in mid and bot here. Like the Karthus just completely
Oh,
dump trucks the Kaisa Soraka. And then also with the Nunu help in the mid, Anivia can't do squat into that duo.
So I'm looking at the damage graphs right now, and I hope we can get them up on the screen as well, because just off of my quick math, very quick math, Karthus, had he done 3,000 more damage, would have done more damage than the entire enemy team combined. Like, if you look at this graph, we're looking at roughly, well, I guess, all right, so roughly 40,000 damage total coming out from Glacial Esports, and we see 35, 139 coming out from Karthus.
Jesus freaking Christ. 35k in a 23-minute game. What?
That is, I have no words. That's, I've never seen this before. I honestly don't know if I will ever see it again.
It's more than 1,000 damage a minute.
It's
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 almost 2,000.
almost 2. Yeah, it's like 1.4 thousand damage a minute, which is, I honestly don't know if I will see this again. But as we're wrapping up here, go for it now. Do you have any final words about the series we just witnessed?
Yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to our producer. Hey, it's me. Definitely had a little bit of trouble both games with thanks to how glitchy OBS can be, but thanks to him once again for sticking around and dealing with all the beauties and intricacies of the League client and OBS.
You do love to see it. Once again, shout outs to Hey It's Me. Shout outs to Risen Esports for giving us this wonderful League of Legends match to watch. Shout out to all of the viewers who spent their Monday nights with us enjoying the game we all love to watch. Once again, I'm the Doctor. I've been joined by Goferino, and stay tuned to the Risen Esports Twitter for more updates on how the leagues progress. But for us here tonight, that'll do it.